Hey there, gorgeous! Happy Drugstore December to you. If you have not heard, every video coming out for this entire month has a drugstore theme, and I'm also publishing videos on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Possibly Thursdays. We're going to see how I do this year with this schedule, but at the very least, 3 videos a week. So please subscribe if you would like to be notified of new content coming out this month. I learned so much in 2021. It's so much. Yeah, we won't get into that. But in the realm of makeup, I learned a lot too. I'm of the mindset where I feel like I have to always be learning something new. I never want to get too stuck, okay? Stuck. And just doing one thing, you know, so I like to learn new things and try new things. And so the best way I know how to do that is to try out tips from other artists, other YouTubers, things I've never heard before. And quite often I'll do videos on those topics. But at the end of the year, I like to reflect back and think about the ones that really stood out to me. And so those are the ones that I am sharing for you in today's video. The first one I have to share with you is one that I used consistently ever since discovering it, and it's made such a difference in my under eye area, both in how it looks and how long my concealer lasts. And that is, instead of using powder to set your under eye area, instead take a sponge, drench it with setting spray, and use that alone to set the concealer underneath your eyes after you have applied it. Now, you don't have to use a sponge. You can also spray a little bit of setting spray on your finger and do it the same way, just to tap it on underneath your eyes to set everything. The reason why this works so well is because it helps to eliminate creasing, keeps your concealer intact for the rest of the day. You don't get that dried out powdery look under the eyes. This is especially great, by the way, for those who have drier skin or more mature skin, or even if you have texture issues that you want to minimize. Great tip for doing that, and it works extremely well. Now, let's say you didn't do that last tip and you find out in the middle of the day that your under eye area is looking dry, it's starting to crease, it's starting to fall apart, and you just want to refresh your under eye area. You can take that same setting spray on a small brush and use that to blend underneath the eyes. You can also use a sponge here too. You don't have to use a brush. But if you take a little bit of setting spray and you use that, it will help to refresh the makeup. It will help to blend everything together. It will get rid of those creases. It will eliminate that dry look. And if you have applied too much powder under your eyes, it will also help to minimize that. Great tip to use even if you do apply powder is just take a little bit of setting spray on a sponge and dab it underneath your eyes afterwards, and that will help to eliminate any cakiness too. If you like the look of dewy skin, let's say you're oily, but you know that you need a little bit of help, especially in the T-zone or any other area of your face where the oil tends to accumulate, and you really can't go for that whole dewy look as much as you would really like to. You can mix your primers. So you can achieve this look and still keep everything intact. And what you do is you take a mattifying primer. You apply it only to the areas where you need it. So for me, I get very oily in my T-zone, so that's where I usually apply a more mattifying primer to keep everything intact. But then for the rest of the face, I apply a hydrating primer, and that gives the skin this luminous, dewy, radiant finish without being too dry looking or too mattified. And I feel like this gives your face dimension too. It just brings the whole look to life, and it's very fresh, and I get so many compliments on my skin, and I feel like it is because of mixing primers in that way. And I mean, you can see right here, right now too, I have a luminous blush on today too, so that's helping, but my face doesn't look flat. Whereas before I would do it all matte and then I'd end up with this like flat look. So great tip to try out if you want to add a little bit of more, should we say, life into your face, because it really does. It looks absolutely beautiful. You could do the same thing with setting sprays. If you have a more mattifying setting spray and a hydrating setting spray, one that's a little bit more of a dewy finish, you can do the same thing where you apply the mattifying setting spray down the center of the face, like in my case, and then take the hydrating or the more dewy spray and apply that to the rest of the face. And the way that I would do this is spritz it first on a brush, which is another one of my favorite tips that I discovered a couple of years ago, and then apply it like that. Because I know some people may think, how am I going to apply a setting spray only in this area? Brush. Brush makes it so easy, and it also helps to eliminate it from getting in your eyes. I can't tell you how many times I've sprayed my eyes with setting spray. And if you're not wearing waterproof mascara, oh, that's fun. Fun times, yes. Another one of my favorite tips I discovered this past year is how to find the perfect nude shade for you. And I gotta tell you, in the one video that I did not too long ago where I had mentioned the nipple, I've heard that your nipple color is actually the same color as your lips. I don't recommend putting lipsticks there, maybe. No, don't do that. I just got the visual. You could see somebody in the store, right? Going like this. Don't do that, okay? I love the comments on that video, by the way. I sat there, I just roared one night reading through your comments. I cannot believe how many of you actually tested that one out. Anyway, that is not what this tip is. It doesn't work, by the way. What the tip was to find your perfect nude lipstick shade. Pull down the lower lip and look at the shade of the inside of your lip. Now, if you can find a lipstick to match that, that is your perfect nude shade. So for me, Flower Beauty's Naked Blush is that perfect nude. It's like my lip color, but better. And it matches the inside of my lip perfectly. It's really, really bizarre. Another great tip I discovered in 2021 was how to create a cream-like blush from powder blushes. And all that you do is take your finger, dip it into your powder blush, spritz it with a setting spray, and then apply it on your cheeks. And I started doing this more because I like, again, that look of the luminous, radiant finish on the skin. And powder blushes to me can become a little bit too mattifying, a little bit drying looking, and they can bring out texture in the skin too. So if you have powder blushes that you really love, but you haven't really loved the texture or the consistency of them, turn them into a cream blush and you might find that you like them a little bit better. And the last tip that I discovered in 2021 that I absolutely love, that has just been one of those game changer type makeup tips, was one that I did an entire video on. So I'm not going to go too in depth on it here. I'll have the video listed for you below in the event that you would like to watch it all the way through. But it was a tip for eliminating those sunglass marks on your nose. And you know what I'm talking about. When you're outside, you're wearing your sunglasses, or if you wear glasses on the daily, you know you get those little nose marks from the pads, and yeah. But there are some things that you can do to help stop them and eliminate them from happening. So in that video, I had talked about applying a primer onto the nose first, allowing that to set, and then you apply a foundation or a concealer over the top of that. And then you set it either with setting spray on a sponge, tap it on. You can also put powder over the top of it. You don't have to use powder though, because the setting spray is enough. And this does help to keep everything intact on your nose. The other tip that I shared in that video that came from a makeup artist, and her name escapes me at the moment, so I'm sorry about that. One of the other things she said to do is to clean the nose pads of your glasses with rubbing alcohol to get the excess oils off. That will help to also extend the wear time of makeup. You can also take a little bit of translucent powder and dust it onto the nose pads so that each time you put your glasses on, they slide right off and on your nose very easily, and they're not going to grip the skin as much. I'm also working on a video at the moment where I'm going to test out your favorite makeup tips. I asked on my Instagram stories today for your top favorite tips, and I've gotten so many responses, so I'm really excited for that video. So if you're not on Instagram and you didn't happen to see me asking for that information, feel free to share your best makeup tip below, and I will see if I can include it in that video. Thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to watch. Look forward to seeing you again next time for another video in Drugstore December.